Imagine two friends, John and Mike. They're both 28 years old. They live in Dallas, Texas, work for the same logistics company, and earn exactly the same income, $4,500 a month after taxes. They graduated from the same college, rent apartments in the same neighborhood, and even drive similar cars. From the outside, it looks like they'll have almost identical lives 10 or 20 years from now. But one decision changes their financial future completely. One evening, while having dinner together, they start arguing about money. John says, "I'll never take out a mortgage. Why would I lock myself into debt for 30 years? I'd rather rent and stay free. If I get a better job somewhere else, I can pack up and move whenever I want." Mike disagrees. "I'm tired of paying someone else's mortgage. Every month the money disappears and I have nothing to show for it. I'd rather pay the bank and slowly become the owner of my own home." A few weeks later, each of them makes his choice. John rents a modern one-bedroom apartment close to downtown. His rent is $1,900 a month. Utilities, internet, and electricity cost another $200. In total, he spends $2,100 every month just to have a place to live. That leaves him with $2,400. Around $700 goes toward groceries. About $600 covers his car payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Another $400 is spent on clothes, entertainment, and other everyday expenses. At the end of every month, John has about $700 left. Instead of leaving that money in a savings account, he invests every dollar into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, planning to build wealth over the long term. Meanwhile, Mike buys a condo only a few blocks away. The purchase price is $350,000. To qualify for a better mortgage, he puts down 20%. $70,000 that he spent years saving. The remaining $280,000 is financed with a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 6% interest. His monthly mortgage payment is about $1,680. But that's only part of the cost. Every month, Mike also pays around $300 in property taxes, $120 for homeowners insurance, and sets aside another $200 for future maintenance and repairs. Eventually, the air conditioner will fail, appliances will need replacing, and something unexpected will always break. Altogether, owning the condo costs him about $2,300 every month. After paying for housing, Mike has roughly $2,200 left. Like John, he spends around $700 on groceries. His car costs another $600 a month. About $400 goes toward personal spending. That leaves him with around $500 at the end of every month. Financially, the two friends seem almost identical. The difference between them is only about $200 a month. But that small difference will become much more important than either of them realizes. The first year passes quietly. Each of them earns $54,000 after taxes over the course of the year. John pays his landlord $22,800 in rent. Utilities cost him another $2,400. In total, housing cost him approximately $25,200 during his first year. Every dollar of that money is gone forever. After each payment, the money becomes the landlord's. John doesn't really mind. When the water heater stops working, the landlord pays to replace it. When a heavy storm causes a leak in the roof, the repair isn't John's responsibility. One of the biggest advantages of renting is that unexpected repair bills usually aren't your problem. Mike's first year looks different. He pays the bank just over $20,000 in mortgage payments. Property taxes cost another $3,600. Homeowners insurance adds roughly $1,440. He also sets aside around $2,400 for maintenance and future repairs. At first glance, it seems like Mike spends considerably more than John. But there's one important detail that many people overlook. Not every mortgage payment disappears forever. Every month, a small portion of Mike's payment goes toward reducing the amount he owes on the loan. By the end of the first year, he has paid down roughly $4,000 of his mortgage principal. That money didn't disappear. It became part of the home that he actually owns. Even though most of his payment still goes toward interest in the early years, his ownership in the property begins growing from the very first month. Another year passes. Life stays relatively stable for both of them. They each receive a small raise and now earn about $4,700 a month after taxes. Then something happens that begins changing the story. John receives an email from his landlord. His lease is about to expire. If he wants to stay, His rent will increase from $1,900 to $2,050 per month. It's frustrating. Moving would also cost money, so after thinking about it for a few days, John signs the new lease and agrees to pay the higher rent. The following years begin to reveal the true difference between renting and owning. John's new lease increases his monthly rent to $2,050. Including utilities, he's now spending about $2,250 every month just to have a place to live. His salary has increased as well, but so has the cost of almost everything else. Groceries are more expensive. Gas prices are higher. Car insurance has gone up. By the end of the month, instead of investing $700, he's only able to invest around $600. Mike faces rising costs too. Property taxes increase from $300 to about $340 a month. Homeowners insurance becomes more expensive. Maintenance costs continue to grow as the building gets older. But one expense doesn't change. His mortgage payment remains fixed at around $1,680 every month. That becomes one of the biggest advantages of a fixed-rate mortgage. While renters continue paying more every year, homeowners with fixed mortgages keep making nearly the same payment for decades. 5 years pass. John has now paid over $120,000 in rent. Every dollar went directly to his landlords. If someone asked him today how much of his apartment he owns, the answer would still be zero. Mike's numbers tell a different story. During those same 5 years, he has paid over $100,000 toward his mortgage. Most of that money went toward interest, but approximately $24,000 reduced the loan balance. His mortgage is getting smaller every month. At the same time, something else has happened. The local housing market has grown. The condo he purchased for $350,000 is now worth approximately $410,000. Without doing anything, his property has increased in value by about $60,000. When you combine the appreciation with the mortgage principal he's already paid off, Mike's equity has grown to more than $150,000. For the first time, he realizes that owning a home isn't just a monthly expense. It's also becoming one of his biggest financial assets. John hasn't been wasting money either. Every month, he continued investing in the S&P 500. Some years the market performed well. Other years, it dropped sharply. During one market correction, his portfolio lost nearly 20% of its value in just a few months. Many investors panicked and sold everything. John almost did the same. Watching thousands of dollars disappear from his account was stressful. But instead of selling, he kept investing every month. Several years later, the market recovered and reached new all-time highs. His investment account is now worth nearly $55,000. Then something unexpected happens. The company announces layoffs. Both John and Mike lose their jobs on the same day. For the first time, neither of them has a steady paycheck. John immediately starts calculating how long his savings will last. His monthly rent is still due. No matter what happens, he has to come up with more than $2,000 every month just to keep a roof over his head. Mike faces the exact same problem. His mortgage payment doesn't stop because he's unemployed. Neither do his property taxes or homeowner's insurance. For 3 stressful months, both men rely entirely on their emergency savings. Fortunately, they both find new jobs before running out of money. The experience teaches them the same lesson. Whether you rent or own, losing your income is one of the biggest financial risks anyone can face. Several more years pass. By year 10, John receives another lease renewal notice. His monthly rent increases again. This time, it rises to $2,400. Utilities now average about $250 a month. Housing alone now costs him approximately $2,650 every month. More than half of his monthly income disappears before he even buys groceries. Mike's housing costs have changed too. Property taxes have increased to around $380 a month. Homeowners insurance now costs about $150. Maintenance averages another $250 each month. But his mortgage payment remains exactly the same. His total monthly housing cost is now around $2,460. For the first time in 10 years, owning his home actually costs less than renting a similar apartment in the same neighborhood. John can't believe it. Every lease renewal means paying more money for the exact same apartment. Mike, on the other hand, is still making nearly the same mortgage payment he agreed to 10 years ago. Around the same time, the housing market continues climbing. Mike checks the estimated value of his condo online. It is now worth nearly $500,000. His remaining mortgage balance has fallen to about $225,000. That means he now owns roughly $275,000 in equity. Without selling anything or making any risky investments, his net worth has quietly grown to more than $250,000. John's financial picture is different. His investment account has continued growing through regular monthly contributions. Thanks to compound growth, his portfolio has reached approximately $180,000. It's an impressive amount of money. But every month, his largest expense continues getting bigger. Then, another surprise arrives. The owner of John's apartment decides to renovate the entire building. Every tenant receives a notice. When the renovations are complete, rent will increase again. The new monthly payment will be almost $2,700. John starts looking for another apartment. He spends weeks searching online. Every apartment he visits is either smaller, farther from work, or almost exactly the same price. Eventually, he realizes something that millions of Americans experience every year. When home prices rise, rent usually rises with them. There are very few bargains left. After thinking about it for weeks, John decides to stay. Moving would save very little money. Life goes on. Another 10 years pass. John is now 48 years old. His monthly salary has increased to around $6,300 after taxes. At first glance, that sounds like great news. But housing costs have continued rising as well. His rent has reached nearly $3,200 a month. Utilities cost another $300. Every month, almost $3,500 disappears just to keep living in the same city. He can still invest, but much less than he hoped when he was younger. Mike is now approaching the final years of his mortgage. His payment to the bank is still about $1,680. Property taxes and insurance have increased over the years, but his total housing costs are still much lower than John's monthly rent. His condo is now worth approximately $560,000. The remaining mortgage balance has dropped below $100,000. For the first time, Mike realizes something important. Most of his monthly payment is no longer interest. Almost every payment now goes toward building even more equity. With every passing month, he owns a larger percentage of his home.